How's it going, everybody? On the road DFS coming at you again here with some Olympic Fanduel predictions as well as just overall lineup thoughts here as we come up on Olympic season here. The NBA season just wrapped up. Big shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks for getting the job done in 6 games there. So exciting series, and I am sad the NBA season's over, but we got Olympic hoops to look forward to here. So I got you covered with some analysis on this U.S. versus France game that's coming up here, and FanDuel is they got you covered over there with contests for that game. So I just wanted to dive in depth here and look at some of these lineups. So first of all, looking at the matchup as a whole here, France versus the U.S., the line here, France plus 600, USA minus 1100. So heavy favorites U.S. in this one, no surprise there. The spread is France plus 12.5 there. So expected 12.5 difference in the score. We will see. I would expect that to cover, but we'll just have to see. I'll read some other things here. The total 178.5. The over is minus 111, under minus 115. So 178.5 total. I don't know. It's really hard to say on that one. A lot of these are going to be hard to make a good call on just because it's the first real game here for these teams, and I'll talk about that more later, especially on the U.S. side here. We have some players that are just now joining the team or recently joined the team, and it's going to be hard to make really confident predictions with some of these lineups because we haven't seen this team in its current form yet. But a lot of those answers will, a lot of those questions will get answered, I think, after this first game. But we're just going to do the best we can here for this first game here. So the last time France and the U.S. played, it was the FIBA World Cup qualifier 2019, and France actually won by 10, 89-79. I don't think that same result's going to hold up. Like I said, I think the U.S. Has a better team for the Olympics here. I would not expect a 10-point U.S. loss, but if you're the type of person that likes to bet on underdogs, you might take France in this and just see. I mean, I couldn't do it myself. I mean, I'm pulling for the U.S. and I think they're going to cover as well. So that would be my personal take. But if you like an underdog and you're willing to bet against the U.S. here, then you do you for sure. So last games, I was also just going to mention the last games each of these two teams played. U.S. beat Spain 83-76. So Spain's decent. That was a quality win, I would say, for the U.S. France lost to Spain 87-79. So I guess just keep in mind here that France lost to Spain by 8 and the U.S. beat Spain by 7. So a lot of this is hard to predict, like I have already said, but you can look at when they've played the same opponent at least and seen what the result was there. That would indicate a solid U.S. win here. Alright, so here I have on the screen the cumulative stats of Team USA up to this point. And some players were not on the team, obviously. Drew Holiday, Devin Booker, and Chris Middleton. All three now are on Team USA. And are they going to be worn out, or are they going to be well practiced? I would lean on the worn out angle. You could look at it either way, but I mean, everyone that's already been on the Olympic team has been warmed up. I mean, they've been playing games as well. I would have to think the intensity of the finals would take a toll on those guys, but we'll see. Maybe they'll come out hot because they've just been playing the most intense series of their lives probably, but I would personally lean towards players that were in the finals probably coming out a little sluggish, but we will see. All right, so breaking down these cumulative stats of Team USA up to this point, you can see who's played the most minutes. It's Damian Lillard up top with KD, about 5 minutes less there in second. No shock there. I mean, KD's had some injury issues this year. I don't think Team USA would want him to lead the team in minutes. It seems like kind of a recipe for disaster. But you know what? He's only 5 minutes behind leading it, so maybe they just don't care. I don't know, but both of them should be solid plays. You know, Lillard and KD are gonna get their minutes, but they're also going to be very expensive on Fanduel, and we will look at salary here in a second. Levine and Beal and Tatum are all in the 80s, as well as Draymond Green. They've all played 80-plus minutes, but we know Beal is gone now. Beal will not be playing in Tokyo. This has there are some people on here that are off the team now, obviously, Beal and Love. But I think those are all solid plays. I mean, it seems like this is a great opportunity for Tatum to really, really put on a show and make a great name for himself. I mean, he already, everyone knows Tatum's great, but I feel like these Olympics are like a real opportunity for Tatum. It just seems like he could really, impress some people with like a great Olympic run here as a young player, and the playoffs didn't go the way that he wanted them to. The Celtics, injuries and everything. Tatum, I think, is hungry. Honestly, Tatum might be more hungry than anyone else on Team USA. Between him and honestly maybe Lillard, from a motivation standpoint, I feel like Lillard and Tatum have got to be two of the more motivated guys on the team to get this thing done. But looking down the list here, got Bam Adebayo, 73 total minutes. And Jeremy Grant's played 49. It'll be interesting. Keldon Johnson with 44, and he wasn't even there for the first game. So I like Keldon Johnson for Fanduel, and I'll get into that here when I go player by player on the specifically Fanduel. But I like Keldon Johnson. I think he's a good value. But in terms of average points, it's Lillard, it's KD, it was Beal, but Tatum, Draymond, those are the main guys there. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, this was going to be hard to predict even before Booker and Middleton and all of them came over, but now it's who's going to take those minutes. I mean, those guys are scorers, all of them. I mean, you got to assume, obviously, Beal's minutes and everything are going to be distributed, but outside of that, you got three guys coming over, and you only have, you already replaced Beal and Love, plus three more coming over. So this is going to get shaken up even more. We're going to have to see. A lot of this is really up in the air, but you can just look at these stats and make a decision for yourself. I'm not going to go into every single one, but maybe pause this video and just take a look there at these statistics. All right, so now moving on over to the French side of things, we got some really good players on their team as well, and in my opinion, nailing your French players are what's going to really win you money in Fanduel, because everyone knows these players on Team USA. I mean, we watch them in the NBA every year. Some of these French players are also in the NBA, obviously. But there are some lesser-known French players that could be the key to the whole slate. So that's why we really need to go in depth here on this. So, first of all, Fournier seems to be their unquestioned, scorer. He is well ahead of everybody else in his average points. It's also just generally what he does. Fournier shoots the three. I mean, he does other things here and there, but Fournier generally a scorer. I think Fournier is probably the best play from France's side. Yes, that's over Gobert as well, and we'll discuss why here. But based on these stats, Gobert, I mean, he's looked good, but these stats aren't popping off the page exactly. 11.5 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, good. I mean, good enough to put him second on this list here, but that's, I mean, I don't know. Gobert's stats aren't popping off to me right now, but maybe he gets more time and he's more motivated in the games that matter. That's the other thing about this. You don't know how hard some of these guys were going in these games before, before they really counted. So there's so many variables with this right now. So at the end of the day, make your own decision. I'm just trying to show you these stats here and break it down. So Nando De Colo, he actually is third in average minutes on the team. Um, let's see here, 2.3 rebounds. Okay, 10.7 points. He seems like a good play. I believe that's their point guard. I think he leads the team in average assists. Yes, that's correct. Good play. A guy that some people might not know about, honestly. I mean, he's solid. He leads them in assists. He's going to be their main ball handler. So then when you're looking at this French team as a whole, it's Fournier points leader, De Colo assist leader, and most people would say, oh yeah, Gobert rebounds, right? Wrong. It's actually Yabusele, who is, I believe, what is he here? Fourth in average minutes? Yeah, he's fourth, and he's averaging 1.3 more rebounds per game so far than Gobert. Again, maybe once the real games start up, Gobert, outperforms him or whatever. But up to this point, it's just something worth knowing is that Yabusele has actually averaged more rebounds than Gobert. Now, scoring, he's not quite there. Assists, he's not quite there with Gobert. Or blocks or steals. Okay, so, I mean, some of those are close. But, so I'm not saying he's like a better player or he's going to score more Fanduel points for you than Gobert. But when we look at these prices here in a little bit, that's when it's going to become important. Because if you can get a guy that even does similarly to Gobert, for much less, not to mention anyone that didn't really do their research is going to see Gobert and they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know Gobert. Plug him in the lineup. He's, I believe, the second most expensive player on FanDuel. So it's going to give you an edge on the competition if you can get a cheaper guy while also differentiating a little bit from what most people are going to do. And maybe he puts up similar numbers or close enough that it makes the salary make sense there. So that's what we'll have to see. But we got Nick Batum there as well. As far as NBA guys, TLC as well, he's there. That's it for NBA guys. These other guys, a little lesser known, but I'm not going to go into each of them individually here, but if you want to pause this video and look at the stats, go ahead. There's just no saying if these stats will hold up when stuff really starts, but still worth looking at. But now I'm going to break down the FanDuel side of it, which is why a lot of you are probably here. So without further ado, let's break down the FanDuel for France versus US qualifying round.
On the road, FanDuel predictions.
But now we're going to look at the salary side of things. I touched on this briefly here and there, but Kevin Durant, 15.5. Most expensive guy on the slate by 1,000, actually. Pretty significant. I think he's a good play, though. I mean, obviously he's a good play. He's KD. He's great. But it's just the money thing. Is he going to be the top scorer for Team USA? You would hope, but it's not a surefire thing. I mean, he'll be a good play barring injury. It's basically what I said about Giannis in the finals. I don't think you can go wrong with KD. It's going to cost you some salary later on. So you might almost want to build from the bottom on this slate would be one piece of advice. And if you can get to KD after filling your utility with guys that you like, then go ahead and do it. But KD, most expensive guy. Then Gobert at 14.5. I don't love it, honestly. I think FanDuel is taking advantage of fans that just see the name Gobert on the other team, a roster full of a lot of guys they might not know, and they're just going to say, yeah, lock in Gobert at 14.5. Could he have a great game? Absolutely. Any of these guys could. But I kind of think it's almost like a trap for fans that don't know a lot of those guys that are just going to lock in Gobert. Just my personal opinion, I think 14.5 is a bit pricey for Gobert. Then we have Bam Adebayo at 14,000. I don't exactly understand why Bam is 14,000. It seems a little bit overpriced for me, but I guess you could go there. I don't know how the rotations are exactly going to shape out. Looking back at the stats, Bam, okay, he was averaging 18.3. I mean, that's good scoring, but he had 73 total minutes up to this point, which is actually not that much, considering he's been there the whole time. He's only started 2 of the games as well, so keep that in mind. Bam Adebayo, he's played in 4 so far. He started 2. I don't know if I'd put my 14K towards that. Just my take. Damian Lillard, 13.5. Love it. I love that price. 13.5. I can get Dame Lillard for 500 less than Bam Adebayo, and what, 1,000 less than Rudy Gobert. You would never get that on an NBA slate. Let me tell you that for sure. I'm liking that 13.5 on Dame Lillard. I think I like that more than the KD for 15.5. Save yourself 2,000. Still get some solid scoring, and you get the player who's played the most minutes up to this point of anyone on the team as well at 13.5. Loving the Dame Lillard play. Jason Tatum, 13,000. Love that as well. I think Tatum has a lot to prove here in these Olympics, and I will be attempting to roster Tatum, I think, as much as I can in these Olympics, as long as things play out the way I see them going. I like the price, 13,000 for Tatum there. Chris Middleton, 12,000. Don't really see myself doing it. I think he's going to be tired from a really hard finals, as well as just playoff run, as well as just season. I think Middleton might be a little bit worn out, and we don't even know what his spot in the rotation is exactly going to be. If he was cheaper, I might take a risk on it, but it's kind of what I said about Brook Lopez the other night. When he was 11,000. Could you take a chance on him? Yes. I just think he's a little bit of an expensive chance to take. 12,000 is just like you want to be pretty sure about what you're doing at 12,000. Now, if Middleton was cheaper and he was like more of a utility play, sure, take a chance on it. But at 12,000, you got to be pretty confident in where you're putting that type of money in your lineup, and I'm not at that level of confidence with Middleton here. Evan Fournier, 11.5. Steal. Absolute steal. I'm telling you, 11.5 for their leading scorer consistently up to this point. Like, Fournier has been like Mr. Buckets for France. Now, could Team USA, focus on him and shutting him down? They probably will. They'll probably try, but I still see him getting some buckets. I mean, I think Fournier is going to have a good scoring game, if nothing else. For 11.5, for 500 less than Chris Middleton, who hasn't even played a game for Team USA, absolutely. Absolutely. I love the Fournier play. This might be like my steal play of the game. I'll go ahead and say, and if that comes back to bite me, I'll own up to it. But just statistically, it looks like a great play there on Fournier. Drew Holiday, 11.5. Same thing as Middleton. I'm a little more comfortable with this just because of the price. I mean, honestly, Holiday is 11.5. He's the same price as Fournier. I'd probably pick Fournier of the two. But, I mean, Holiday's looked great. Middleton's looked great too. It's really just how you see it. If you like playing those finals guys, no games in yet, could pay off. Devin Booker 11K, same thing. You like it, then go for it. I think Booker at least might be like angry, compared to these other guys. Booker could be like a little more motivated here, I think, than Holiday and Middleton. And unless you see it the way like Middleton and Holiday want to cap off their finals with a Olympics gold medal as well, maybe that motivates them. But I do see Booker as a little more motivated than those two. Draymond Green here, 11K. I don't hate it. I mean, he's a hustle player. He'll probably get you some steals, might get you some blocks. Usually doesn't do a whole lot of scoring. Like, let's be honest, if you're looking for scoring, stay away from Draymond. But he does the little things, and those little things can score you a lot of Fanduel points. When you think about blocks and steals, those add up. So 11K taking a shot on Draymond, not against it. I'm definitely not against it. Just do not be expecting buckets with this guy. Next at 10-5, we got another guy from the French team. It's Urtel, and I don't hate this play. I mean, 10-5, you do want to be as safe as you can. I think in terms of rostering mostly Team USA players. I mean, we do expect them to win. A lot of those guys are more proven, I would say. So I would definitely try to probably roster at least 3 of your 5 from Team USA would be my suggestion. But, I mean, if you do 3 out of 5 French and it makes sense to you, I guess roll with it. But I personally think I will be trying to at least do a 3-2 in favor of Team USA in roster construction. But Urtel is averaging 18 minutes, 7 points, 4 assists, 1 rebound. So, he'll do something. Would you like a little more for 10-5, though? Yeah. I mean, he's going to have to outperform his averages, I think, to hit value at 10-5. So, if you want to take an optimistic approach, I don't think a whole lot of people will play him, so maybe Urtel turns out to be a key to the matchup here. Zach LaVine at the same price, though, at 10-5. And that's probably the way I would lean if I was going to go Urtel or LaVine. I just think LaVine is he's highly motivated here. He's looked great, honestly. I've liked what we've seen in some of these early games out of LaVine. I like the price at 10-5 as well. And I like the LaVine play for sure. So now DeColo at 10,000. And see, that's what's interesting to me is he is less than Urtel, and I don't think based on stats that makes much sense unless there's something I don't know about what the French are planning to do with their lineup. But based on what we've looked at up to this point, I don't understand why he's 10K. I mean, let's see here again. 10.7 points, 4.3 assists, and 2.3 rebounds, and 0.3 steals a game as well. But his stats are all around better than Urtel's. He's averaging more minutes, and yet the pricing doesn't seem to make too much sense. And I really think FanDuel is relying on us to not do the research here. So, check out videos like this here. I'm trying to help us all out right now by doing the research and hopefully helping you set a well-informed lineup here that you really like based on real statistics here, which is all we really have to go off here in this first game. Okay, so Yabusele at 10K as well. I like him a lot. He 10K, again, good price. I like the price on Yabusele and DeColo, honestly. 10K for either of those guys. One's leading them in assists, the other's leading them in rebounds. I'm going to check my stats here again. Yeah, I mean, Yabusele, 8.7 points a game, 7.3 rebounds a game. He's fairly close to averaging a double-double up to this point. I think that's a good play. It's a really good under-the-radar play. Next up at 9K, we have Nick Batum here for the French team. I personally feel like he's a decent play here. He's got 27.5 minute average here through these early games for the French team. So they're not going easy on him minutes-wise, despite him being an older player who just came off a pretty deep playoff run with the Clippers. He looked pretty good for most of that. I would say he kind of ended the playoffs on a bit of a weaker note, but I think that's because of the matchup changes that the Clippers made specifically to try to counter DeAndre Ayton. They were going with some more Zubac there, no more small ball generally, and that cut into Batum's playing time. But he is an older player coming off a deep playoff run here. So I would keep that in mind, and I would also keep in mind that a lot of FanDuel players are probably going to put him as one of their value plays because they know him. Okay, they're like, oh, Nick Batum, I watch him in the NBA. He's going to be my value play. So just keep in mind, if you're trying to do a different lineup, I might stay away from Batum, personally, if you're really trying to differentiate yourself from the crowd, because I could see him at 9K, a player a lot of more casual NBA fans know. I could see him being pretty popular at that price point. He might have a good game, but I think some of these lesser known fringe players could also have as good or better of a game. So that's my take on Nick Batum. All right, we have Corneli at 9,000. Honestly, I don't know much about him as a player. He's averaged 16 minutes, 2 points, and 5 rebounds a game. Statistically, I would not take a chance there, but unless there's something I don't know, I think some of this pricing by FanDuel is quite honestly random, which I don't really blame them either, because as I've said 9,000 times in this video, there's not a whole lot to go on here. It's kind of just what we're expecting to happen, which totally could not happen. But anyway, so don't have too much to say about him. So next we have Frank Ntilikina, 8.5. I could see him being a popular play just because he's an NBA player. Kind of the same thing as Batum, but he's younger. Did not just come off of a deep playoff run either. Should be a little fresher. 17 minutes a game, 10 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. I actually like the play at 8.5. I really do. He's used to going against NBA competition as well. I think it's a good play, but I think it's going to be a popular play. So that's the trade-off with him. Jeremy Grant, 8.5. I'm fine with that. I mean, Jeremy Grant here, he started one game and he's played in all 4 for Team USA. I expect him to be, in the rotation. Don't think Jeremy Grant will be starting, but, I think it's a good play all the same. Mustafa Fall here at 8K. Let me check in on his stats. 16 minutes a game, 5 points, 1.7 rebounds. Not huge on this play. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. He doesn't average 0.0 in any category, so not the worst play, I suppose, but one of my favorite plays here is below him. So TLC from the Nets, 8K. He's averaging almost 20 minutes a game, 7 points, 2 rebounds. Could be a decent play, but it's the same thing. I'm telling you, with these players that play in the NBA that are at cheaper price points for France, they're going to be very popular. Hopefully this is the last time I say it, but if you are looking for a different lineup, I would stay away from these players. Like more of a unique lineup, go for the lesser known French guys that are cheap. It could pay off big here for you because a lot of the casual fans here are going to go for, Batum. They're going to go for Ntilikina. They're going to go for TLC. These are guys they know from the NBA. They're going to look at them at that price and say, oh, yeah. And it could pay off for them. But it's specifically in tournaments especially, I would probably try to stay away from them. All right. Poirier there for the French team. Don't know too much. Vincent Poirier. Probably stay away there. Keldon Johnson at 7.5. I actually really like this play. I feel like they've gotten him involved up to this point. He's a younger player. He was one of the ones, him and JaVale McGee, that were added after Love and Beal went home. So we'll see. He's been getting minutes, but the 3 new additions there from the 2 from the Bucks and 1 from the Suns, there's going to be a lot of pushing for minutes going on. Is Keldon Johnson going to get the short end of the sticks? I don't know. I just know that they've been playing him so far and he's been looking pretty good. So 7-5 could pay off, honestly. We'll see. Second to last here, we have Andrew Albisi, who is actually averaging 19.7 minutes up to this point. Pretty good minute average for a guy that's 7K here. That's the cheapest anyone is. He's tied with McGee. Get to him in a minute. But that's a good average amount of minutes for a player's minimum price here. Problem is the stats aren't great. 2.3 points, 2 and 2. He hasn't been doing a whole lot in those minutes up to this point, but it's kind of almost like a PJ Tucker play from the finals is what it's coming across like to me here. You're getting someone that's going to get a lot of minutes. I don't think Albisi starts, but he does have apparently he gets on the floor, so you're paying a very cheap price for minutes, which generally speaking is a good formula for DFS. But we'll just have to see how that French lineup is deployed here in this game. And then finally, we have JaVale McGee. He is yet to play in a game, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, according to the cumulative stats, McGee hasn't been in a game yet. So that's why he's the minimum price. I don't think I'm going to play McGee. I'll just keep this one short. I don't see myself playing him. If there's some kind of thing where he does get minutes, some kind of scenario, and maybe he plays more of a key role than I thought he would, then going forward, I could definitely see myself playing him if his price stays down. But I'm not so certain he's going to get a whole lot of minutes for Team USA. So that's going to do it for my breakdown of Team USA versus Team France here coming up, qualifying round. It's going to be exciting to cover Olympic basketball here and hopefully win a lot of money with you guys. So that's all I have for today. If you like the content, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Looking forward to bringing you more videos here and continuing to grow the channel and the community as a whole. As we grow, I'm going to get the social medias going for the channel as well, and eventually get some giveaways as well happening. So that's all I have for today. Look forward to bringing you another video very soon.